time for our first keynote speaker this evening, and it is someone who worked as a top marketeer for several international companies. He worked and lived in many countries around the world. He worked for PepsiCo until 2016, when he decided to relaunch the family lemonade brand Ritchie, which was on the market until the late 70s. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jan Verlinden.
Good evening. I'm Jan and I started Ritchie. In Belgium, we have many traditions. We have traditions of beer, waffles, chocolate. But actually, we also used to have a tradition of lemonades. In the past, in Belgium, 50s, 60s, 70s, every small city, every small village had its own brewery. And these breweries, next to making beer, had their own local lemonades. And I'm pretty sure some of you in the audience will remember when you visited your grandparents, there was like a crate of the local lemonade somewhere in the basement. This is me. Oh, no, that's not me. This is me. When I was a little bit younger, and we used to have a lemonade. My father had a brewery in Lübeck, not far away from here, and Ritchie was made there. The brand disappeared at the end of the 70s. Since when I was 22, during my traditional father-son discussion, do you want to take over the brewery, yes or no, I decided not to do it. I would have been the fourth generation, but nobody of my generation took it over. I went working for big companies until 3 years ago I was fed up with it. Now it's very easy to know what you don't want. It's not so easy to know what you do want, and actually did pick this picture stimulated me, so maybe it's a good idea to bring Ritchie back on the market, because in Belgium, we drink a lot of soft drinks. On average, we drink one can of soft drink per day, or 124 liters per person per year. That's 4.2 billion consumptions of soft drink a year. And in Belgium, everybody knows the market is monopolized by Coca-Cola. That means in the last 20 years, there hasn't been that many interesting launches which were made. If you would be sitting in Berlin or Hamburg or in London, there we would find some quite interesting, trendy soft drinks. So instead of waiting for those soft drinks to come to Belgium, I thought, let's bring Ritchie back on the market, because there's more and more trend toward craft products, local, natural ingredients, artisanal. In the world of beers, this is going on for a long time. Chips, Mostig de Ster from Lübeck. So there is clearly a market for that. Now, how do you start? I mean, you have an idea, how do you start? I think the most important thing as a startup, and I heard saying in the panel that marketing is very, very important. Selling your concept is very, very important. The first step to sell a good concept is to make sure that you have a good story. If you don't have a story, it's very difficult to explain what it's all about. Since we were Neanderthals, we communicate with each other through stories. Second part, you need to have a good product and a good design. Design is often underestimated. Design is not just to keep the content, it has to explain what category we're in. Ideally, you fall in love with the product. And then you have to have a good go-to-market strategy. And a simple go-to-market strategy for Ritchie is actually, in HoReCa you try, in retail you buy. So the HoReCa channel is a crucial channel to get the brand to know. And it all started, and growth is very nice. Now, let me remind you, the double of nothing is still 2 times nothing, so it sounds big on the screen, but it's still a very small brand at that point in time. But things are going great. And then it's Corona. The go-to-market strategy is in HoReCa you try, in retail you buy. 2020, everything goes down. Your whole market strategy goes down the drain. And immediately you see the impact. Sales minus 75% in the HoReCa channel. And retail doesn't compensate. Well, what happened at that point in time in retail? The women gave their husbands a shopping list to go to the supermarket. And what do husbands do? They listen and they only buy what's on the list. And what was not on the list was Ritchie. So therefore, we had a problem. And then there's several things you can do. You can start screaming, you can put your head in the sand, or you can do like the great Winston Churchill said, never let a great crisis go to waste. So as I had a little bit of experience in marketing, I knew that in summer you can get good deals in out of home. But I didn't have a marketing and advertising company to help me. So I asked friends around, hey, what would be a great idea? And this idea also came up, All Drinkbaar België, which is actually quite a funny idea. But okay, if your campaign starts on the 22nd of July, it doesn't make sense to have a campaign like that. So therefore, on the 21st of July 2020, this is the first campaign we ever did, a newspaper ad in Het Laatste Nieuws. And on that day, we also had a jingle on VTM. And then we had the national billboard campaign. We also became sponsor of the trailer of the Slimste Mens, which then resulted in our first TV campaign.
Lemonade. Belgische natuurlijke limonade. A splash of happiness in a bottle. Ritchie Cola. Belgische natuurlijke cola. A splash of happiness in a bottle.
And the good news was we contained the damage of Corona, so 2020 turned out to be a good year. Now going forward, if anybody here in the market wants to launch a brand, this is a book I recommend. It's very depressing read. If you want to launch a brand, it's not very easy. You need to create mental and physical availability. People will only buy what they know and if they can find it. But in order to build that, we became sponsor of the mall, did another campaign in outdoor. We also did some product placement in Het Huis. Now, product placement is a very good and relatively cheap way to get good quality communication about your product. So we did quite a lot of product placement in the last couple of years. Now, this is my favorite scene.
Wow. Chill. Oh, heerlijk.
Now, it's great if Marco Borsato tells on national TV that your product is heerlijk. It's a little bit of a pity what happened to Marco Borsato after that, so we couldn't really use it, but it's still a great campaign.
Geniet van de
And
Masked
then
Singer.
we were also
Met
sponsor
Ritchie limonade.
of the Masked Singer,
Natuurlijke limonade.
where we did quite some visible product placement, continued with the Slimste Mens, did the Voice Belgique, RuPaul's Drag Race in RTBF. And it's great. Sales kept going up, so we're very, very proud where we are. But the key thing which I don't want you to think, I mean, this guy comes to tell him how wonderful he is as a marketeer and doing all this advertising on TV and billboards. It's also very clear and important to understand it's all a matter of perspective. Because this is what happened at the end of last year.
Dan Ritchie. Ja, ook limonade en op frisdrank. Hè.
Dus ik weet wie dat Ritchie is, maar ik weet niet dat Ritchie limonade is.
Nee.
Dat is de sponsor van deze show.
Ja.
Hebben ze nog niet?
Goed gedaan, ja, goed gedaan. Ja. Wat is jouw favoriete frisdrank, Tom?
Ritchie.
So although I'm very proud of where we are, that we show very nice progress, if you look on the other side of the slide, we are only 0.1% market share. We are a very, very small player. There's two ways of looking at it. The key way I look at it is there's still quite a lot to gain. So I'm very confident looking at the future. But the key element and the main reason why I'm doing it is I'm having a wonderful time enjoying putting this brand on the market. So thank you very much. This was the Ritchie story.
And thank you, Jan. Just to continue for a very short while, so every entrepreneur and every startup here in the room, of course, wants to find a gap in the market. What kind of gap did you want to fill in? Because you entered a very saturated market. The competition in that market is immense.
Well, it's true. So you're talking to a market where the biggest FMCG brands and companies are operating. Coca-Cola is one of the most valuable brands in the world. But there is a a niche market available, because if you would be a HoReCa owner and you want to create a very nice atmosphere in your HoReCa, you work on your design, you decide which is the food you're going to serve, you're going to think very, very hard about your wine list, very, very hard about your beer list, and then when it comes to soft drinks, it's the same like in every frietkot or in McDonald's. So even there, people are looking for better products, better experiences.
Yeah, and are you aiming for exporting the product as well?
Export is a little bit of a hobby. We do a little bit of export, but we don't have enough cash to build a brand in Belgium. So focus, first build a brand in Belgium, and then we'll see.
I don't know whether, you follow the debate, you refer to it. Something that was said as well is if we compare with the United States, you see a lot of entrepreneurship. Is that something that you think we can learn from as well?
Well, I think the key element, and Lola said the same thing about Heineken, the key element is we should not be too shy. We have wonderful products, we have wonderful beers, we have wonderful chocolates, we have wonderful lemonades. We should not be shy, and we should say, okay, let's go. We can stand here, because the alternative would have been to the Fritz Colas and the Bionales from Germany, the Belvoirs from, they would come to the market. No, we have, Belgium as a brand is very, very interesting. We have quality products, so there's definitely a market for it.
Yeah, you worked for, may I say 2 decades, or maybe longer?
Yes. 25 years of preparations for the launch.
Yeah, right. So you worked in the big corporate companies. What did you learn from them? What did you take along in this journey?
Well, you learn a lot. I mean, the good thing about these big corporations is, I mean, it's very professional. And marketing is a métier, it's a job. Marketing is not just some thinking of some advertising, it's a positioning exercise. It's a job. You need to learn a lot. And I've been lucky to have actually 25 years of experience and training with the best marketing companies, and I'm using what I've learned there in the support of Ritchie.
Okay, where do you want to be in 5 years' time?
Well, a little bit bigger, but the key element is it has to be fun as well. Now, of course, it's only fun when the business is growing. I think there's a potential of 1% market share in Belgium, definitely. That's times 10, so that's ambitious. So let's hope we'll move into that direction, and we'll see where we end.
Yeah, and what element gives you most fun?
Well, sometimes I get fan mail, believe it or not, where people send me an email. It's like, I drank your lemonade, and it felt like I was sitting on the knees of my grandmother 30 years ago. À la recherche du temps perdu. That's cool.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Jan. Give him a warm round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you.